In following the noble Lord Carrington, I've just tossed out everything more or less I was going to say, and I feel the need to respond to what the noble Lord just said, which is, I think, founded on an idea that each patch of land, each farm, is a discrete entity that has no real relationship to the entities around it. But the fact is, of course, and this is most obvious when we're thinking about the climate emergency, the carbon that's emitted from that land or alternatively stored on that land has global implications. In terms of flooding, it's very obvious, and without opening other debates, all right, I won't open that debate. There are certain land uses in this country that are associated with large amounts of water runoff, and that has implications for the people downstream, for communities downstream, literally life and death implications. We have to also, and the noble Lord referred to food production, we have to think about the food security of the UK in a world in which food security is going to become an increasing issue in the coming decades. So we have to think about systems holistically. And indeed, we have signed up to do that very thing as a signatory, as all the nations in the world are, to the Sustainable Development Goals, a mix of economic, social and environmental goals that we've signed up to and that we are not currently on track to deliver any single one of those goals. So the question is, the government has signed up to these goals, how is it going to deliver them? And surely making sure that land is used well, that land is not used in a way that harms other people, has to be a foundational measure. And I just want to pick up on the point that the noble lady Baroness Young of Old Scone made in so ably introducing this amendment about multiple uses. We have to look at a situation, and here we're talking about agroecology and permaculture approaches. And what we're not talking about here, and I'm no believer in central planning, we're not talking about directing things in terms of this acre of land, this hectare of land you do this with. But we're looking at types of land, patterns of land, areas of land that need to get certain outcomes from. And that's what we need to see is multiple uses, the permaculture approach where you can have several layers on the same piece of land. These are the kind of things that we're talking about. And I think it's just worth noting, finally, that it's interesting that this amendment arises before 118 about food strategy. And of course, these two are very much related. And we need to be thinking in terms of land use about whether we're producing the kind of food that we need, and particularly whether we have government incentives and policies in place that lead to us producing the kind of food that's bad for people and bad for the planet, or whether we're actually putting the right policies and incentives in place to produce a good outcome for both factors.
I merely wish to say that I'm really very worried